And now for something different. So, video is called Woke YouTubers Trying to Deplatform Me on the channel Think Before You Sleep. I don't know this channel in particular. Got recommended a video one time and watched it. It contained lots of good knowledge and information that I, in my own personal investigations, listening to the experts and so on, came to appreciate. So that's my exposure, my extent of exposure to Think Before You Sleep. And now this guy, for that video in particular, is getting in trouble. And maybe I can help out with my neutral perspective.
Hi everyone. I usually don't start videos out like this, but today is a special occasion. Earlier, I found out that someone I made a video on got offended and has started a mass flagging campaign against
And it was a solid video. So I'm confused. What is going on here?
me to try and get this video taken down. For everyone who was out of the loop, a few days ago, I made a video about a YouTuber who goes by Illymation or Alyssa, where I basically spent 30 minutes saying, I don't like your video, and here's why.
And it was
a
pretty
thing
fair.
that many YouTubers do. I've criticized other YouTubers have criticized me. Sometimes we have a little internet battle. Those are fun. And by the end of it, everyone moves on with their life after about a week or two, except Alyssa. Now, because of the urgency of the situation, and considering that my channel is on the line because Alyssa has millions of followers,
So what's going on?
and she's well connected to a bunch of other powerful YouTubers, I rushed to make a community post about it just in case I got a channel strike before I got the chance to comment. If you already read that community post, I gave the gist of the situation there, but I'll be going further into detail in this video. That being said, earlier I received an email from a follower giving a well-detailed description about how Alyssa is trying to get me a channel strike because she didn't like a video that she admits to not even watching. If you didn't watch it,
Not
how do you
even
know what's in it?
watch
Well,
the
a
video?
friend of hers told her it was bad. Wait,
Wait, what kind of friend would tell you that a well-informed, well-sourced, respectful video warrants this kind of response?
this the exact kind of research that I criticized her for in the video? That's funny. Now, before we go any further, I will say that I began this journey with a bunch of people saying that Alyssa was deleting comments on her Perks of Being the Fat Kid video and put a pause on the comments section. I understand a lot of people are going to cry censorship, but also I will point out that anytime someone makes a video criticizing a creator, the vast majority of the new comments on said creator's video will say, LOL, you're dumb and I don't like you. While I don't mind if people write comments that include polite and constructive criticism, unfortunately, asking for viewers to be courteous to other creators that I cover on this channel does not actually stop comment brigading, no matter how many times I've done it in videos, and it doesn't work when other creators do it either. Unless someone has actually engaged in criminal behavior, I think generally YouTubers don't want their followers filling up another creator's comment section. I also think it's well within a creator's right to block or mute comments on their channel that are essentially harassment and not an actual discussion. However, this comment brigading behavior appears to just be a fact of nature that creators can't control, so really it's on YouTube to make an interface change that addresses this problem. We already have subscriber-only mode on live chat.
But YouTube want to be like, the creator is in full control of everything, including moderation.
I don't see why that feature can't just be added to video comment sections as well.
Yeah.
You would be shocked at how...
Actually, Twitch has all this like auto mod protection stuff, like different levels and whatever. So maybe good. Maybe YouTube can do something like that too.
many people would lose their interest in saying, LOL, you're dumb, if they had to wait 10 minutes or 24 hours to say it. This would heavily cut down on comment brigading without removing the ability to provide constructive criticism and without having to full-on censor the comment section. Anyway, Alyssa posted this on Tumblr. Of course it was Tumblr. The comment thread starts out with a post saying, did you see this total creep who did a takedown of your fat kid animation? Alyssa responds to it by saying, yes, frowny face. I didn't watch it. A friend did though, and gave me a rundown. I advise others to not watch the video or his channel either. Do not engage. Don't give him a single second of watch time or ad revenue. Yeah, real mature. I'm going to start a mass flagging campaign for a video that I didn't watch, and then tell my followers to not watch it either, because surely they shouldn't be allowed to develop their own opinions on content that is critical of me. Gee, that doesn't sound like a cult at all.
God forbid.
I love this comment, because that's not how you write deplorable. That's how you write deployable. This is such a cute grammar mistake. Anyway, let's keep going.
Critical of me. Gee, that doesn't sound like a cult at all.
God forbid people on the left explore some of the viewpoints that exist on the right, because that is scary.
You know there are many ways to watch a video without giving it ad revenue, right? For example, you could watch it on my Rumble channel where I basically re-upload everything for free. The link is in the description. Moving on to what her friend said about the video, because everyone knows that a game of telephone is always the best way to get the most accurate representation of an event. Anyways, finish the entire video. Guy is just dog whistling to misogynist. Well, that certainly is a completely non-biased and fair assessment of my video that not only brings up my bad points, but my good points as well, and totally doesn't preempt Alyssa to hate me before any of the video is discussed. Sarcasm aside, may I remind people like I did in this video here, that while my viewership is mostly male, my female audience is between 15 and 20% on a typical month.
Nice.
If I was just posting radicalized misogyny in every video, then I wouldn't have
That's a pretty high ratio for YouTube. Unless it's a makeup channel or something.
this many women watching the channel. Now let's continue with the completely unbiased assessment from Alyssa's friend. He spends a very high percentage of the video personally attacking Illy's appearance. Well, first of all, the fashion section was less than 10% of the content. It was 2 minutes and 45 seconds of a 37-minute video.
Well, it was pretty tasteful.
Second, you also forgot to mention the part where I began that section highlighting Alyssa's good features to aim people's attention towards, and gave 2 examples of what she looks like when she styles herself correctly, and compared that to when she styles herself incorrectly. The reason I did that is because many people think they're ugly when they actually aren't. They just have bad fashion. I did a whole video about it here discussing multiple YouTubers.
See, this is why you should watch videos before taking people's word. Like, you always get your little white knights and whatnot in your community, and they're gonna get hyper-triggered by anything negative, and then you have the issue that you didn't watch the video, and somebody who's having some sort of feelings for you, or something like that, is giving you wrong info for no fault of their own. It's just, you know, that's their bias. But if this person watched the video themselves, they would see this is actually a pretty fair video. Meow.
Who would look way better if they just took care of their appearance. Alyssa would be just as attractive as all the people she said she compares herself to in the Perks of Being the Fat Kid video if she just learned good fashion. Can we all see why you should watch a video before you rile up a hate mob? When you hear personally attacking Illy's appearance, there are a lot of ways that can be interpreted. Some of them can be cruel and malicious bullying. Others could be, hey, you're actually not ugly, just do these things here and you'll look great. In order to determine which one it is, you need to investigate further. Alyssa's friend says this next. My judgment is that this guy appeals to the same audience as your Jordan Petersons and Ben Shapiro's without any of the qualifications that those two regrettably have. Why would she assume that I'm a fan of Ben Shapiro when I made fun of his sister's terrible fashion recommendations in the very same video? I love how she glossed over that one. But at the end of that image, she's making an appeal to authority argument by saying that Jordan Peterson has a degree in psychology, Ben Shapiro is a lawyer, and I'm not qualified to speak because I'm not a psychologist or a lawyer. Well, for one, we're talking about health and fitness here, and what sort of certifications does Alyssa have in either of those fields to be qualified to talk about them in her video? Guess who does have certifications to talk about fitness? Me. I don't mention it a lot because constantly talking about your qualifications sounds a lot like insecure bragging, but I did say I was a fitness professional in my reaction to Alyssa, and my personal qualifications are a bachelor's degree in kinesiology, an NSCA personal training certificate, and a 200-hour yoga teacher certificate. I also have about 12 years of combined experience in the fitness industry and in sports, and I taught for about 10 of those years.
That is
I am
pretty
very well
badass.
educated in this field. I constantly learn new information in it, and it's one of the reasons why my fitness and weight loss videos do so well. It's because my advice actually works and has resulted in many people losing weight. Again, if we all have to have degrees in this stuff, where are Alyssa's qualifications to give health advice to kids? Where's her degree? All she did was talk about how uneducated she is on this subject, and starts the video out by saying this.
I started dieting at the age of 11. I looked over at whatever Weight Watching, Jennifer Craig, Fitnessing Pal, MLM, Facebook scam my parents were up to, and I copied them.
So she's preempting the video telling you that she's unqualified, and then she spends the whole video talking about how the advice of the professionals that she chose to listen to didn't lead her to her goals. Anyway, Alyssa's friend goes on to say,
I mean, you have to listen to like 5 experts who may or may not disagree with each other, probably disagree with each other on some points, or many points. Anyway, I felt like you could have doubled down on it a bit more, on that point a bit more. It's like, yeah, you know, if you really want to be like, I went to the experts, you got to actually go to a lot of experts.
Blah, 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 cherry-picked, blah, blah, non-academic sources. Which is really funny because Alyssa's main sources were a magazine and a fat acceptance advocate. Hell, they
Oh.
didn't even put a person's name on this 20-year-old article. Meanwhile, I actually gave proper citations that lead you directly to the source. I actually gave the names of the professionals that I was quoting. I showed a video using indirect calorimetry to display the differences on what types of exercises burn the most calories. And I linked a Noah Samson video where I go very heavy into the data about why fat acceptance is bad. An argument so good that even Noah had to agree with it.
So I must admit that in my prior video, I made a mistake. Well, 2 mistakes. The first mistake was the way that I made one of my arguments. I argued that fat representation in media can help promote healthy habits. This line of argumentation is not great. It's a stretch because it relies on a lot of
True.
correlations. A good chunk of Think Before You Sleep's video covers this flaw in argumentation. So I'm hereby raising a white flag on that argument. I think it's a bad argument.
I'm not sure what a literal professional's well-documented opinion is, but considering that I'm also a certified professional in this field, it's my word against theirs, so welcome to a stalemate. Last, her friend ends off her
Rude.
comments by denying that Aubrey Gordon is a very ideological radical leftist, to which, if you actually read the stuff that I posted on screen during her segments, you could easily see. I didn't just say that without proving it. And yes, her politics are relevant, and so are Alyssa's, because Alyssa loves to abruptly insert her leftist politics into videos for kids.
Another memorable kid I'll
No.
call Devin. One day while I was getting snacks ready, this little dude stomped and stormed in. Did not pass the snack table, did not collect the Cheez-Its. And that's how I knew something was up. So I sat down with him, but before I could get a word in, he turned to me and said, "Do you know what the most evil thing in the world is? Plastic." And he goes off about littering, landfills, fossil fuels, acid rain, CO2 emissions, our carbon footprint. This little dude just learned about pollution and he was fuming. And I love that for him because, you know, there are people my age who think global warming is a myth. So
You gotta make sure though to get the nuances correct, right? Like there's different issues and we don't really know which one is a priority over other ones. And okay, so what are the causal mechanisms? Actually, these are questions that need investigation. And I'm all for investigating. Meow.
I'm here to assure you guys the kids are all right.
Yes, because telling a little kid that the world is being destroyed is completely appropriate and not traumatic at all. Does anyone remember that a part of Greta Thunberg's backstory was that learning about climate change made her anorexic at 11? Whatever your politics are, we should not be telling young children that the world is ending. By the way,
If they can't express themselves along the lines of, okay, we need to do the science, then it's maybe gonna backfire, right? So,
when I say woke left, I don't mean the left in general. I mean the radical left who are pro-cancel culture and have been promoting the very unhealthy message that being 300 pounds does not cause health problems. And second, by the way, it's not like there aren't people on the radical right who are pro-cancel culture. The America First movement is very into cancellation and deplatforming, and I've been very critical of that. And no, I didn't just assume that Aubrey was 300 pounds. I showed her saying it in an article. Anyway, Alyssa goes on to say that she reported me to YouTube and is waiting for a human to review my video. She also chatted with the help desk person and really put a lot of her time and energy into trying to get me deplatformed when really she should be busy enjoying her vacation in Japan.
oh
Has
yeah.
no one ever reacted to her content before? Wait like a week and everyone will forget about it. In fact, if you said nothing, everyone would have forgotten about it by the time you got back from your trip. Last, Alyssa gives a call to action to her followers by saying, "However, if you or anyone else reading this comes across this video, please report it for cyberbullying. Make sure to not watch it before doing that, by the way. Hopefully with
What?
enough reports from different people, it'll get taken
What?
care of sooner. And please do not send hate to him. It will only make things worse. I just want this to be over." I love that last part. Make sure you don't harass him. Just mass flag his channel. Alyssa, I'll take hate comments all day before I take a channel strike. If I don't like comments, I can just mute them. By the way, considering her behavior, I think the only reason that she asked her followers to not send hate comments is probably because she doesn't want to make things worse by making people aware that she's mass flagging me. I hate to break it to you, Alyssa, but when you have a channel that has hundreds of thousands of viewers, people make you aware of everything. Even when someone tries to hide a targeted harassment campaign by posting it on Tumblr instead of Twitter or YouTube, where people would actually be able to criticize the evil thing that you're doing. And then she says, I just want this to be over.
Yeah.
Well, by playing dirty and attacking my channel and my livelihood, you did the exact thing that will make this not over.
That is
Now I have to respond
fair
because if I don't, I could lose my channel
point out.
and the 80 to 100 hours that I spent on that video. If you simply did nothing, Alyssa, you had about 4 more days before everyone forgot about you. Speaking of YouTube rules,
Also true.
and as someone who regularly reads them, I know that my video doesn't break any of them in the hate speech policy or the harassment and cyberbullying policy. Here's the fun part. Do you know what's actually in violation of YouTube's bullying and harassment rules? This Tumblr post. Maybe that's also why she tried to secretly post it, because she knows if she posted it on Twitter or YouTube, people could report her for it. Oh God. Originally, I was just going to talk about Alyssa telling her followers to mass flag my channel, but since Alyssa is hell-bent on spreading as much wrong information about health as she possibly can, I feel obligated to comment on an archived post that I was sent. Remember,
And you know what? Health is important. It's like maybe number one. It's a very close competition with other stuff. But yeah, health is important. Take good care of your health. And you need people like this as well to parse the information.
that Alyssa has no background education or any qualifications in this. Well, here she is yet again trying to gaslight people about how many
And no, I don't 100% agree with anyone on anything. But so I do listen to a broad range of sources on a broad range of topics.
health problems obesity causes.
Lots of MDs and so on around lend you a hand in terms of understanding the scope, the limitations, because yeah, the study can have causal explanations, it can be more of a correlational study, and there's reasons to appreciate both of these and limitations to both of these approaches. So you can learn a lot if you just listen to the experts on YouTube.
Causes, and also conflates obesity with people who are underweight to try to make it seem less bad. First of all, let's remove obesity from the table. If we're just talking about severe obesity, more than 5.5 times more people suffer from that than people suffer from being underweight. This long rant of Alyssa's is so full of wrong information and poor analysis that I could easily spend a whole video on it. I'm not going to go over every point, but I will do a little speed run through each section by also mentioning that Alyssa points out that you can't determine if people are dying of heart disease because of obesity, because there are other factors that cause heart disease, like lack of exercise, smoking, and alcohol addiction.
There is this thing called controlling for other variables, because you have groups. They're similar to the group you have, but they may or they may not have this other thing going on, right? So it's called controlling for other factors. It's not unusual. And yeah, it's sometimes, actually most of the time, you probably miss a couple of factors. So studies have to get revisited periodically. Characterization can drastically change, yes, but like if you just list a couple of known alternative explanations that I would expect get controlled for in many cases, I would be like, I would be like, okay, the argument is not being made very well here.
While that is true, I would also like to point out that people who don't take care of their health tend to have multiple bad behaviors. Would it be a shock if I told you that obese people have bad diets and they don't exercise? One person could even be all 4 of those hypothetical categories. And the great thing is that getting a person to lose weight might also get them to stop drinking. Now they've gotten
That's
rid of
also
multiple
true.
risk factors for heart.
There's a positive snowballing effect. People who are stressed by external influences, they manage to learn to cope with the stress better if they take on challenges of their own choosing. That's something I've picked up somewhere anyway, so take it from a cat, meow.
Heart disease just by weighing less. And if you're going to insist, well, we just don't know which behavior is causing the deaths. Okay, so assume it's all of them. They're all bad for you anyway. The weird thing here is that she's trying to argue that heart disease isn't self-inflicted when it happens to an obese person, but it is self-inflicted when it happens to a smoker or an alcoholic? I mean, that's how she ends her argument, at least.
That is
Personally,
confusing.
I don't really see a
What?
difference between destroying your health with binge drinking versus destroying your health by binge eating. Maybe the only difference here is that you don't want people criticizing the behavior that you are guilty of, so you're shifting the goalpost by saying, well, at least I'm not a smoker. Second, Alyssa shows this single anecdote from 6 years ago to say that doctors are generally ignoring proper medical practice when it comes to obese people, which results in a massive amount of them losing their lives. The problem with this particular anecdote is that this person, Ellen Bennett, is a fat activist. Activists love to distort the truth if it helps them fight their cause, and I point that out because this obituary and the related article are extremely unspecific about important details like the type of cancer that Ellen had or what her chief complaint was when she entered the doctor's office. One of the things that liars love to do is omit specific details because it makes it more difficult to question their story. People get late diagnoses on cancer all the time, whether they are obese or not. So without specific information, we can't determine if there was any sort of malpractice.
Early diagnoses may not actually help prevent cancer. There is the part where you get a higher survival rate by detecting cancers early because you detect them before they ever get a problem, and then the person dies of natural causes because they were old in the first place. But so you test more, so you find more people with a cancer, and so you have a higher survival rate in terms of the cancer. But that's because people were on their way out anyway, so to speak. Sorry for the people. That said, there are cancers you do probably want to screen for and get your vitamin D3 levels and so on up. But again, take it from a cat, meow.
If Ellen walked in with stomach pain at 250 pounds or so, no doctor is going to say, "It could be stage 4 cancer. We need a tissue biopsy now." They're going to go through all the common reasons that people have gastrointestinal issues and rule those out first, to which obesity and poor diet cause a lot of them. They aren't just going to give you every single possible test on your first visit. That would be expensive and impractical. Also, this all happened in Canada, and I could have just as easily taken this very vague story and used it to spin a narrative blaming socialized medicine for this, or any other cause that's politically convenient to my interests. Last, Alyssa gets a little personal by talking about her mom, who is a nurse who works a lot of overtime.
Oof.
Her mom went into the doctor's office complaining about hip pain and ended up needing a partial hip replacement.
Oof,
Very specific.
that is unlucky.
We have a chief complaint and the exact diagnosis, so I can reasonably believe that she's telling the truth. Alyssa is mad that it took a long time for her mom's hip issues to be properly diagnosed and blames anti-fat bias for why her mom couldn't get an X-ray or an MRI. Well, to start, MRIs are expensive, and a year isn't that long to wait when it comes to joint replacement surgery. My grandparents both dealt with bad knees and bad hips for multiple years before they got replacement surgeries.
Yeah, that
But
happens.
since my mom is also a nurse, which gives me easy access to things like the opinion of an orthopedic surgeon, let's talk about why the doctors might have made her wait. Alyssa's mom is 50 years old. The average age for a hip replacement is roughly 65. That's important because hip replacements only last about 20 years. Since surgery is inherently dangerous and it gets more dangerous as you get older, a lot of surgeons like to delay knee and hip surgeries for as long as possible so that they don't have to do the surgery a second time. It's reasonable to spend a year exercising other options before you cut someone open. That being said, let's go over a little more information on Alyssa's mom. Alyssa says her mom has struggled with weight loss for the majority of her life, which is strange because you would never guess that from the way she animates her mom in her videos. Geez. First you animate Aubrey Gordon about 150 pounds lighter than she actually is, and now you animate your mom as a thin person when she's actually overweight in real life. You know, for someone who is trying to promote body positivity and normalize things like health at every size, you really do a great job at erasing the existence of fat people from your videos. Anyway, once I
Yeah, she probably feels bad about people being overweight. Like, it's not a good thing most of the time.
read this, my next question was, how overweight is she? Is she 20 pounds overweight, or is she 100 pounds overweight? So I did some internet snooping and found a Twitter post that Alyssa made of these two people taking a picture with her while they're wearing 2022 VidCon featured creator badges, and their faces are censored with hearts. One might assume that these are her parents. If this person on the right is her mom, I would say, yeah, it's pretty reasonable to see if they can prevent a surgery with some physical therapy and by getting her to lose some weight. Anyway, Alyssa will go to pretty much any length to prove that none of her mom's health issues are caused by her bad diet. And well, as a fitness professional who took many of the prerequisite courses to be a physical therapist, I will say that one of the things that obese people have trouble doing is walking properly. The first thing I would check is her mom's gait cycle because obese people tend to turn their toes out and waddle when they walk, which is bad for your hips. Nursing is also a job where you stand a lot, which is not that great for your hips. And it's even worse if you have 70 to 100 pounds of extra weight pulling your joints at awkward angles. Consider ergonomic shoes and sitting down more often at work. Alyssa's final argument to convince people that obesity causes zero health issues is some article about osteoarthritis. This one's going to be easy. Let's just look up that page she quoted from the WHO, and what a shock, it says that obesity is a risk factor for osteoarthritis.
No.
It actually says specifically for hip and knee osteoarthritis.
No.
My God, why are so many of these people illiterate? You don't even have to be a genius at research interpretation.
Yeah, that is rough.
They tell you the answer right there. It's right here, Alyssa. What is this, like the 4th time I've covered a major creator who doesn't even read the stuff they're quoting? I'm not even going to research anymore. These people are so good at finding resources that contradict their own points that I'm just going to let them do all the work now. But Alyssa will do anything, and I mean anything, to say that no health complications are caused by obesity, even when her own source is arguing otherwise. Geez, Alyssa, stop with the health advice. You aren't qualified to talk about this stuff just because you listen to one podcast from people who... Wait, they aren't even trained in medical or health sciences? You've got to be kidding me. Michael Hobbs from Maintenance Phase is just a journalist who wrote for the Huffington Post, and Aubrey Gordon is allegedly a sociology major.
They have really helped me reconsider what it means to be healthy, and I can't thank them enough for it.
I can't imagine how that benefited you.
That sounded a little sus. I wonder what that was about.
No wonder this article that Aubrey wrote is full of sociological arguments and people's opinions instead of actual scientific data. Does she even know basic biological information like what ATP is? And if you think her podcast Maintenance Phase is any better, it's not.
We still don't know why most people are fat or how they got that way in a scientifically incontrovertible kind of tested narrative, right?
This came from an episode about the 2004 movie on McDonald's called Super Size Me. Now, they do rightfully say that Morgan Spurlock should have disclosed that he was an alcoholic at the time that he was the subject of that film. But then they go on to say wrong stuff like this.
So throughout the film, Morgan Spurlock and whose nutritionist...
Weight has something to do with the things you choose to eat. And then exercise has all kinds of health benefits, but it's probably not a very good weight control intervention. Anyway, take it from a cat.
both say that he was eating about 5,000 calories a day. They say it several times. Mm-hmm. So there were like rebuttal documentaries to Super Size Me at the time.
Okay.
A number of those documentarians, some reporters and other folks like science teachers tried to figure out how to make this happen based on the McDonald's menu at the time. Mm-hmm. And they could not get to 5,000 calories per day.
Wait, but I don't understand how you can't get to 5,000 calories. Can't you just go in there and buy like 12 milkshakes?
I mean, what they were saying is one breakfast meal, one lunch meal, one dinner meal, and even desserts with lunch and dinner. They were still like, can't get there. And even if you add McFlurries or whatever to lunch and dinner, it still didn't get folks to 5,000 calories.
The hosts of Maintenance Phase are really good at giving the impression that they do good research, but did they actually fact check this? No. They pretended to fact check it by looking up one item and saying, that's not possible, which is about the moral equivalent of reading the abstract and claiming that you read the whole study. Well, don't worry, because I did the math for you, and if you supersize everything like Morgan Spurlock did in the movie, and you add in McFlurries, you can achieve about 5,000 calories in 2 meals. Also, did you even watch this film before doing the podcast? They literally show his diet journal, and while it is blurry, you can still see he ate 2 Big Macs and had a chocolate shake for lunch. He's not just eating basic McDonald's meals like you guys suggested. Is any of this honest? So how in the heck...
quote-unquote McDonald's meal, yeah. What is that supposed to mean? Although I'm not really sure what the point here is. What's the argument?
Hell are 2 magazine writers with a very mysterious educational background, qualified to comment on biology. You can't claim to understand a study when you don't know half the language being used. That's like saying that you're fluent in a foreign language just because some of the words are similar and because they use the same numbers as English. I mean, holy shit, Alyssa. I am begging you to stop giving people health advice. And please stop promoting fast food to kids and giving it social proof.
Ultra-processed food is produced by a food system that is the leading cause of loss of biodiversity, the second leading cause of carbon emissions, and the leading cause
Diary of a CEO.
Stick to making videos about Animal Crossing and sharing My Little Pony fan art. You aren't qualified to talk about this stuff. Anyway, that was my speed run through Alyssa's New Year's Eve rant. I know it was a lot, but I assure you that I still didn't cover everything, and that was the quick version. Getting back to the mass flagging campaign that Alyssa started against me, let me be clear, she only cares about my video because it contains criticism against her. She doesn't actually care about real bullying and harassing, or even harsh critique. Well, obviously she doesn't care about bullying because she'll openly call her followers to harass a much smaller creator that has 1/3 of her following. But allow me to remind everyone of this thing that Ludwig said a while back when he responded to a video of mine.
I had a problem when I was young where I had a squeaker voice and I would talk and I would get roasted because of my squeaker voice. It's like an intrinsic quality about me and not because I am dog shit at the video game. I am cool with people being mean because I am bad or do something dumb. I am not cool with people being mean because I have a trait that I cannot change about myself.
He said that in response to a video that I made about video game activists using hate speech to cancel all forms of criticism, not just gendered insults or things that you can't change like he was arguing. Ludwig was roughly saying, no one's going to cancel you for saying someone sucks at the game, to which I pointed out in my response that I received a 3-day ban from Apex Legends for merely saying that a teammate of mine sucked at the game. So I don't agree with Ludwig's assessment at all.
And you know what? I got stuck in enough arguments about how you shouldn't bring a negative attitude to a video game in League of Legends to get myself banned from the chat at least before. Because, yeah, it actually produces a not great environment for playing the game, actually, so I just have my chat disabled. I actually do get kind of triggered by teammates being rude to my teammates just because they aren't looking great at any given point in time. I think with League of Legends, you can go 0-10-0 and still carry the game from top lane, so maybe I got a bit of a bias there. That's not the story. You probably don't wanna mess around in a video game chat, one way or another.
I think this stuff has always been about removing any criticism. Now, did I make fun of Alyssa's gender? No. Did I make fun of her race? No. Did I ridicule her for attributes of her appearance that she can't change? No. Did I tell my audience to harass her? No. Yet she still has deemed this as cyberbullying and is leading an actual targeted harassment campaign as an attempt to deplatform me and take away my source of income.
Which sounds just wild, but when you think about the likely white knighting that's going on in terms of the people who tell her about this video, and then she blindly trusts it, like, so, you know, it's a messy situation. So it sounds wild, but there's some logical reasoning that can go into that. And hey, if you understand it, maybe you can change it.
Like I said, she doesn't care about harassment. And to further prove that, she was very quick to mention all of her YouTube friends a few months ago in a video about autism.
My boyfriend Kermit is not of the YouTube sphere, although he does enjoy watching and keeping up with certain creators. But never in a million years did he anticipate being in the same room as Hassan, Jax Films, Ian from Smosh, Eddie Burback, Michael Reeves, Lily Pichu, and many others all at once.
Now, I will say that I think most of Alyssa's videos are fine. I think she gives decent advice on how to deal with an autistic partner. I think it's great that she's trying to destigmatize mental health treatment with videos like this. And I thought that most of the videos that I watched of hers were entertaining and relatable. I mostly just had a problem with her video on fat acceptance. That being said, we can see that she promotes Noah Samson and Hassan, and at least her boyfriend is a fan of them.
Maybe some of these topics that were briefly mentioned there, maybe getting some sunlight, some vitamin D, maybe that's an idea. Anyway, again, take it from a cat.
The fact that she associates with Hassan yet flips out over light criticism from me is really funny. Because you know how I'll take time to say good things about a person, argue their points fairly by bringing up their good arguments, and make sure to not poke fun at the things that they can't change? Well, Hassan does none of that. He's spent hours reacting to my videos over the past 2 years, basically calling me every name in the book.
Dude, shut the fuck up, you stupid, cringe, weirdo nerd, dude. How are you like a 14-year-old pasty little incel on the internet when I make fun of like pasty little shit-skinned incels? You're just a pussy, dude.
Wow, that's
Hassan
so
is
rude.
well known for the type
What
of
in the
behavior
world?
that you would consider harassment, so don't try feigning ignorance, especially if your boyfriend is a fan. You have to have seen him do this stuff. Wait, take a look at this moment that I found while I was making the insult compilation.
And plus, you can shit on women, just not on the virtue of them being a fucking woman. Like, I do it all the time, okay?
Again, it's just like the Ludwig clip. It's not about gendered harassment or making fun of intrinsic traits that someone has. It's about using the term hate speech to move the goalpost every couple of years on what's considered mean, so that eventually any kind of criticism will not be allowed because it offends someone.
And not just that, potentially. I do worry about censorship.
Hassan said it was fine to make fun of a woman, just as long as it's not on the virtue of them being a woman. Then he said he does it all the time. Now, can Alyssa point to one example where I made fun of her for being a woman, or any intrinsic characteristic that she can't change? Well, no, because she didn't watch the video, so she has no idea what's in it. But
That's at the heart of the problem here, I think.
Anyone who actually did watch it would know that I only commented on things that she has control over, like research skills and fashion. Yet she still said I was bullying her and told people in her massive 2.5 million person following to try and get me deplatformed for a behavior that someone she looks up to or is friends with admits he does all the time. So the claim that this is just about gendered insults or whatever and everything else is fine is completely wrong. Now, Noah isn't as bad as Hassan, but he still says things that Alyssa would very much consider harassment if it was said about her. Here's something he said about me.
Ow, ow. So that's what this video is like. Random stock image, smug, whiny commentary.
He also followed that up with an entire video making fun of my voice with a friend of his. Do I care about that? No. I know what I sound like. But don't kid yourself by thinking that Alyssa wouldn't make a big deal of it if someone did something like that to her.
I like to think of the stock images, though.
So Alyssa, why do you think it's okay to associate and actively promote these YouTubers when they constantly do things that you think are so wrong?
Like, man, who wouldn't want to be at that place? Think about it. Touch some grass. Oh yeah, I love it.
That it's worth trying to deplatform someone. Again, is this the first time another YouTuber has reacted to her channel? Because I would never think to get someone deplatformed because I didn't like a reaction they had to a video of mine. Did I cry to YouTube when Hassan made his videos on me? No. Did I cry to YouTube when Noah did? No. Did I whine about Nick is not green or Ethan is online reacting to me? Nope. How about Vosh? Well, Vosh's reactions aged hilariously after he accidentally exposed what was on his computer, but that's beside the point. Never have I tried to deplatform someone over negative commentary, and these people have all said way worse stuff to me than any of the stuff that I said about Illymation. A lot of reactions to my channel have been straight up slander too. I mean, Alyssa, you do understand that this post here calling me a right-wing extremist who led a targeted harassment campaign against you is technically libel, right? On top of that, I would like to note that I've made many videos criticizing other people, and Alyssa is the only person to ever try to deplatform me because she can't handle any criticism. How are all these other people?
Yeah, maybe this is downstream from having a problem with handling criticism. Fascinating.
People so brave? Aren't you like 26? You are well into adulthood and a lot closer to 30 than you are to 20, yet you behave like an elementary school child tattletaling to the teacher because some other kid criticized you for being a bad sport during kickball. Considering that in this post you stated that your market is children, do you really think this is being a good role model? Telling people to stick their head in the sand, not listen to feedback, and use dirty tactics against anyone who criticizes them? By trying to deplatform a smaller creator, all you've done is make yourself look bad and legitimize the claims that your opponent made against you. So here's a little advice from someone who is not qualified like Jordan Peterson or Ben Shapiro. If you want this to go away, then stop trying to get my video and my channel taken down, and most importantly, ignore everything. Instead of burning your energy on a bunch of random people on the internet that you don't know that have no effect on your personal life, enjoy your vacation in Japan. As someone who has been studying Japanese for years, you would never see me ruin a trip to Japan over some stupid creator drama. Why are you even on your phone? You should be out doing
stuff. Good idea to not do that.
It's been over a decade since I've been there, and no stupid woke leftist reaction video is going to ruin that vacation. In fact, Noah Samson made this video on me right before I went on vacation for a week last summer, and I paid no attention to it until I got back. You would do well to try that. And contrary to what you said in this video here, ignoring people does make things go away. Does anyone remember that Mr. Free Speech Tim Pool sided with two people named Eliza Blue and Jack Murphy who were both in favor of deplatforming? Nope. Do people remember that Tim Pool had one of his reporters write multiple hit pieces on Eliza's top critics, while Eliza was busy using her connections to get those critics banned on Twitter and their videos removed from YouTube?
He's talking
I don't think so. Well, I mean, I remember that, but pretty much nobody remembers it because Tim Pool kept his mouth shut. Was it moral for him to do that? No, but it worked, and things went back to normal a few weeks after the drama was over. Alyssa.
And that's how the things work, you see? You gotta choose your battles. You gotta choose what you're gonna get worked up over on the internet.
If you don't like negative comments, all you had to do was mute them for a couple days, probably not even a week, and everyone would have forgotten about it.
I don't mean just the creators. I mean the people who are taking part in this. It's like, yeah, a lot of this is just like whatever. And yeah, some of it may be good for modeling other conflicts that are taking place that are more high stakes. But anyway, got to look out for your own good as well.
So if you really want this to just be over, that would be my advice, and Google the Streisand effect. Anyway, thanks for watching, follow me on Twitter, and I'll see you in the next video.
So that was a reasonable reply to the accusations that seem to be going around. I enjoyed watching it myself. This video, that is. Maybe leave a like over there. I haven't really watched this guy at all. I just watched this one video, as I said at the start, and now I watched this second video. And so, yeah, fair enough, right? Like, it's probably important that people don't get messed with. Like, people are trying to mess with this guy right now. That's, you know, anyway, I hope they'll be fine. Maybe leave a like over there, maybe do other things, I don't know. But again, keep the respectful approach. I think it's all benefits and no downside to keep the respect up most of the time. Anyway, hope you have a good one. Play safe. Don't get too swept away by the waves of outrage and whatnot, as you find it to be practical for a period of time. Stay safe, have a good one. Do rate, comment, subscribe. Do share the video and so on. And again, I hope you have a good one.